Go ahead, Shri. Namaskar, everybody. Today we have none other than Honorable Shri Tarun Kapoor Saab, who is the former Joint Secretary of MNRE and later on was the Secretary at the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. And he has done a lot of revolutionary work both in the solar arena, before that in hydro in Himachal Pradesh. And finally, the swan song was the CBG issue, which could be a revolution for this country. Namaskar, Tarun Kapoor Saab. Namaskar once again. So one of the finest IAS officers that we have in this country, as we have known him at NIRVANA Foundation and REPA. So today we have gathered here at the New Delhi Institute of Management, and we are going online with him so that we can save time. Fortunately, he could not join us, but yes, we are going to discuss with him the issues of, the first issue is to pay respect to our great Yogendra Prasad Saab. We are releasing a biography today. So Kapoor Saab, you have met him so many times, not only at our forum, but you knew him personally as well. So how do you rate Yogendra Prasad Saab as an icon and a doyen in the hydropower sector? You know, in our lives, we have not seen M. Visheshriya, but मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि हमने, at least I spent time with him, of a personality who could do something similar.
So first of all, Professor Iyer, let me congratulate you for organizing this and for constantly working on hydro. Hydro is so important for the country, and probably we forget the importance of hydro. I remember good old days when working in Himachal, hydro was considered to be one of the big solutions for the energy of India, but gradually then hydro lost its importance. I knew Mr. Yogendra Prasad from my days in Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam. Earlier it was called Nathpa Jhakri Power Corporation. He was the CMD, rather holding charge of CMD, additional charge of CMD. He was CMD of NHPC and he was holding additional charge of CMD there when I joined as Director Personnel. And I found him to be very energetic and very focused and excellent knowledge of hydro. He could build confidence in his team and would set very big targets, and used to move around with such efficiency, going all over the country, looking at various projects, and he had solutions. Like he whatever problems, there were a lot of contractual problems, a lot of issues would come up, and he would have solutions, and he would build a lot of confidence amongst the entire team. So he was, you could say, one of the leading figures as far as hydro is concerned in the country.
Right. See, I also saw, sir, in the case of the power sector, one very interesting area where I always discussed with him was the frequency issue, of grid management and grid code. And he had tremendous knowledge about those issues, how the drawage of powers would happen, at what time you can operate. And he always used to tell us that bina hydro ke, you can't actually operate even your thermal power plants. So these were, very deep insights that I got through him, because we as engineers, at the end of the day, need to understand what is the commercial scale. Today the grid is at 400 gigawatt. Yesterday I was sitting with the NHPC chairman. So we discussed the same issue. Very rare people discuss. Even 240 gigawatt we cannot take off. So a myth of surplus power is there. So this is a subject I talk to you because you are also an engineer. So we are fundamentally engineers. So I believe you will throw light on this, because this is very rare topics. People don't get into these,
So grid management is a very major issue as on today all over the world, not only in India. And in India, as the penetration of renewable energy keeps going up, grid management is going to become even more important. And how do you manage the grid? In a country where you have a peak load, which is, we have the duck curve, so-called, and we have a peak load in the morning and also in the evening. And so you need peaking power, and peaking power can best come from hydro. So in order to maintain that frequency, in order to be able to run your grid properly with penetration of renewable energy in a very big way, you need hydro, and you need hydro with storage. And now there's a lot of talk of pump storage also. Earlier some pump storage projects were set up, but they were rarely used. It was almost like a dead investment. But now, with solar coming in a very big way, and we get solar during the daytime, and solar being so cheap, it makes a lot of sense to get into pump hydro also. And more than pump hydro, what I think is that if we have normal hydro with large storage, and most of the power, then we can, in the hydro we can generate during peaking, and it's so easy. And
Right.
we still have a lot of potential left in the country, which we must exploit. But when we exploit that potential, we should keep in mind that hydro should be used only for peaking, and for base load, we can manage through a combination of other renewables.
Right, sir. Very right. And I think, finally, even people have said hydro is costly, but I'm seeing even when Subanshri, in spite of getting delayed, the cost of power is not very exorbitant. The general feeling, because there must be some new design of financial engineering in it, because the 100-year asset cannot be compared with a 25-year asset. So I feel hydro has got some kind of stepmotherly treatment. And we have tried to highlight, what all we can do in the financial engineering in our white paper. So I want one comment from you on this, because we must be innovating on long-term assets. It's a water resources front-loaded, and actually electricity coming separately, both for storage and pump storage. Yes, it is very important because we have 100 gigawatt of this potential still to be exploited. Barely 5 to 6 gigawatt is there.
So as you very rightly said, that you can't compare a 25-year-old project with the new project. So we also have to remember that there are hydro projects today in the country which are giving power at 50 paisa or less than a rupee.
Yes.
And supposing we were to bring all hydro at par and say that, okay, you now bid, and they would easily fetch a price of say 3 rupees or something.
Yes.
So just have a hypothetical kind of mechanism, so that difference which is already there in that in the older hydros, if you could transfer that money for the newer projects in a hypothetical manner, then some mechanism can be devised.
Yeah,
and you could bring down the price of power from the new projects. Discoms would be willing to buy, say, at 3.5 rupees or 4 rupees. And if the power cost currently is coming at, say, 7 rupees, you have to get that bridging, you have to have some kind of mechanism to bring it down to that level. That could be one idea. And then hydro project has to be looked at in the long run. Normally, when
yes,
in hydro, people used to say hydro has a life of 30 years, but actually,
no, it's 100
years. Life of 200 years. So
yeah, yes.
then you have to look at in the long run, and then even at 7 rupees, I think it's quite viable.
Yeah, because even I'm seeing Subanshri, the price will be below 5, after all the delays, much below 5. That's what information I'm getting. And Bhakra is almost 38 paisa. And if you look at, Sardar Sural, 57 paisa. So everywhere the hydro is not a costly affair, according to, provided we take innovative financial engineering, just like you suggested, some pooling cost of hydropower and things like that. So, and this 100 years asset, yes, you're right, sir. We have to minimum calculate for 100 years. An asset life cycle concept is what we have written in our white paper. So I believe people like you would endorse and understand, because financial engineering is the key to hydropower.
Yes, that and financial engineering is being done in every sector. So why not in hydro?
Why not in hydro? Yes. So great, sir. We have also suggested a separate fund for hydro. So what is your view on this subject? Because it must be treated differently, because it's like a sovereign financing situation for us when we develop these projects. Like we have a hybrid annuity scheme for the road projects. Why not we look at some optional schemes like this also?
So there could be so many ideas. There could be a separate fund, or then taking cue from what is happening in Europe on carbon financing. We could have some instruments so that there is some kind of a viability, money flowing in through some mechanism, and for all renewable energy, in fact.
Yes,
and
I believe
for hydro within the country already, BE is developing a system so that those who pollute are then paying for filling in the gap for clean energy. And then we also need to look on the other side and bring down the cost of hydro by removing certain things which are loaded on hydro. A lot of things have been loaded on hydro in the past.
Free power is one case. It's not loaded on any other renewable also. Unfortunately, hydro, it's always कि भाई हमें free power भी दे दो और इसमें load करके. And see that is the kind of, this is just not one subject, sir. There's many other issues, as you rightly said. In fact, the cost of development, तेरी की तो पूरी township बन गई. और वो सारी cost आप tariff पे डाल देंगे तो वो नहीं होगा ना. So I think somewhere I have a great love for hydro. Although we did a lot of work on solar, but I believe that without hydro, there is a renewable itself cannot move. And I'm not the only one in this. Luckily I saw GI Hub. We have included their topic. They are talking of innovative financing for hydro. And International Energy Agency has now come up that the masthead for COP26 will be hydropower. I was stunned that they took that stand. So this is the day for us.
So even organizations which own hydro projects, old hydro projects, now those organizations within the organization can generate surpluses if they are allowed to increase the tariff of some of the older hydro projects, and those surpluses can then be deployed to finance the newer projects. And
Right.
some mechanism can be devised. And as a country, we have to very clearly set up a target for hydro, and we have to, come what may, we have to decide that whatever is the
Right.
potential of the country, at least 80% of that we must exploit.
Right. Sir, I am working on two things. With your motivation, CBG, we have taken at our end as a very important element because the rural economy moves. And the top is to revive the hydro. Because solar to ho gaya, it will happen. 51 ho gaya, to 100 pahunch hi jayenge. Of course, we did not achieve the 100 gigawatt we wanted, but it's still good. We are at 51 gigawatt is fine. But I think now the country should focus on these two. And the third part, which I want to share with you, is we are working on the white paper on another area, which is called nuclear decentralized using thorium. So ये हमारे 3 areas हैं जो REPA अभी ज़्यादा focus कर. So what do you think about it? One comment from you on this, sir?
No, excellent. These are very important areas. I wouldn't be able to comment much on nuclear, but on hydro and on CBG, I think both are very important for the country. CBG is extremely important because CBG touches the farmer on one side in terms of producing not only the biogas, which he can also use and can have a good impact on the rural economy, but also biomanure. And on the other side, picking up agriculture residue, which otherwise causes pollution in some form or the other. And just look at this, the dump of waste in Delhi. A lot of news items keeps catching fire every time and again. And methane is being emitted. So if we have compressed biogas plants all over the country, then there will be no waste. You treat the waste, the methane is captured, it is used as a fuel. Otherwise, methane escapes into the air. It's highly polluting.
Yes.
And compressed biogas not only creates employment, it provides energy which is sustainable, cheap, and within the country. It also cleans up the country and checks pollution.
Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for today and your very precious time. Always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always motivating as well because there are, like Prasad was a great motivator for me. I always found you also a motivation for us. So I feel we are very thankful to you, sir. Namaskar once again, and we'll share this interview with maximum people, sir. Thanks for all your support, sir.